You ever notice how scrolling reels or TikToks for 5 minutes just turns into an hour? And then when you're done, you're completely unmotivated and you can't do anything else? That's not your fault. That's dopamine dysregulation. In today's video, I'm going to show you how social media hijacks your motivation and takes it over. But how cannabis, when used intentionally, can actually help to reset your brain's reward system and bring your focus back into the present moment and into what you're doing. Hi, my name is Tabitha Fritz. I'm an intentional cannabis educator and I'm the founder of Level Up. I teach people how they can use cannabis as a tool to support their mind and body alignment instead of using it as a way to escape or for distraction. And this topic really matters now because most of us are so overstimulated and are having challenges focusing, and we're tired all the time, right? Social media plays a big role in this for many of us, and how to incorporate social media into their life in a way that allows you to maintain focus and productivity and motivation, but at the same time lets you, enjoy the benefits of scrolling on reels or watching TikToks, which is, you can learn stuff. It's also entertaining. It's fun. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and be like, no social media. That's not the point. The point is to learn to use this thing that we've created as humans in such a way that it improves and supports the quality of our life, that it makes our lives better instead of making it worse. I don't know about you, but there have definitely been times in my life where my social media usage and consumption has reduced the quality of my existence. It has made me less motivated. It has made me less focused. It has certainly increased my propensity to compare myself to other people, to compare my journey to someone else's who has nothing to do with me and should not be compared to me in any way, shape, or form. So social media certainly has its pitfalls, and it certainly has challenges, and it leads us to experiencing challenges that we never would have experienced before social media existed. And of course, there are, thoughts and ideas that social media may go away and no one will ever engage in it again. But I don't think that it's going to ever go away entirely. It's a thing here now, and people enjoy it, and it allows us to connect and see each other's ideas and communicate, and people are able to be creators and make things for other people to consume and be interested in and learn from. So I don't think it's going to go away, but it is important to learn how to use things like social media in the way that's healthiest for you, because if you don't, you're just not the healthiest that you could be. In today's video, we're going to be diving into 3 main points. First of all, we'll talk about how social media actually triggers those dopamine bursts that makes everyday normal life seem really boring and uninspiring and disengaging. So how that actually works in your brain. Then we'll talk about some of the signs of dopamine desensitization. Yes, that's a real thing. You can become desensitized to the dopamine that naturally occurs in your body. So we'll talk about some of the signs and symptoms of that and how to know if that's occurring in your body and in your life. And then we will talk about how you can use cannabis as a tool to help support a dopamine reset for yourself that will actually improve your focus and your motivation instead of just numbing you out and making you not feel anything bad that's happening around you. So those are the three main points that we're going to cover in today's video. So let's get into it. Let's start by talking about how social media hijacks your dopamine system. And in fact, social media platforms are designed to do this. This is their whole purpose, is to hijack your dopamine so that they can get you addicted to their platform so that you stay on the platform longer, showing their advertisers that these people are on the platform for so long. Don't you want to give us lots and lots of money for the advertisements that we're going to put out to these people that because we've addicted them to the platform, right? Social media is designed to make you express your dopamine so that you will stay on the platform and become addicted to it. Really, that's the whole purpose of an algorithm, is that it's constantly running in the background to figure out what it can show you that will keep you on the app. That's the whole purpose of social media. In the beginning, it was different. But, when capitalism gets a hold of something and it becomes about making money on that thing, then it's going to happen any way that it can. And the whole purpose of these social media apps is for the people who own them to make money off of them. And the way that they make money off of them is by selling advertising or selling advertising space and time to advertisers. And advertisers will pay more when they have a captive audience that they know are going to be watching this advertisement, A, and B, are already primed to want to buy the thing they're advertising because they've already expressed so much dopamine by watching this content over and over again. Okay, so the first thing that you need to know is that social media is designed to fuck up your dopamine system. That's the whole thing. It's designed like a casino. It's designed like a slot machine to give you the bright sounds and the bells and the whistles and everything that expresses the dopamine, that makes you feel good and makes you stay addicted, because you're like, what's going to be in the next reel? What's in the next TikTok? Maybe the next one will be amazing, right? And that's how it hijacks your dopamine system. You're constantly going, am I going to get the next dopamine hit from the next reel? Am I going to get the next, is the next one going to be amazing? Is the next one going to be amazing? And you don't even think about it. It's just what happens because that's how it's designed to happen. When that happens, it's working. It's designed to do that. That's the point. So here's the mechanism. First, we start with instant rewards. Okay. You watch a quick hit video. You watch, a 60-second video. Sometimes they're 30 seconds. For a while, Instagram was like, we need videos that are between 3 and 7 seconds long. And that's what they were prioritizing, right? That's because when you watch that short video, you get an instant reward. You get instant gratification. There is an instant dopamine surge in your brain because you watched that 7-second reel and it was funny. And you got to the end of it and you laughed. That gives you a dopamine surge in your brain. So you have an instant reward from watching that reel. Now, on top of the instant rewards, you also have variable rewards, right? These are rewards that you never know when they're going to be coming in. You don't know what's next. This is the slot machine effect. This is where I said you don't know if that next reel is going to be one that teaches you something amazing or makes you laugh your face off. And it's the one that you can't wait to send to your friend group because everyone's going to laugh and think it's hilarious and think you're the funniest person ever for finding it, right? That's variable rewards. You don't know when that's coming, but you know that the chance of it is right around the corner. And then you also get overstimulation. Because you have all these dopamine spikes, both from the instant rewards and the variable rewards that keep coming in, your brain gets desensitized over time. When you constantly have these dopamine spikes, it doesn't mean anything. Your brain's like, oh yeah, just another, dopamine spike, it's just another reel. It's no big deal. Like whatever. I've seen 16 of these in the last hour. It's okay, fine, whatever. So then when you actually do have something that actually gives you dopamine in the real world, it doesn't seem so interesting or enticing or exciting because you've had all this dopamine expression on these really exciting variable rewards and instant rewards on the social media app. And because of that, you get these dopamine crashes, right? You can't focus on things in the real world afterwards because everything feels so flat by comparison to these reels, which were designed to express the dopamine in your brain. Okay, so when you're engaging in something that is super, super interesting, it's giving you all these dopamine rewards, and then you get off of social media and you try to go do some work, you can forget it. Your dopamine's not interested in doing that. Your dopamine's not interested in doing anything else but watching some more reels for the rest of the day. Right? You have irrevocably altered your dopamine system for at least a few hours when you do that. That's why they say don't start your day with social media. Do not wake up and pick up your phone and start flipping through, your social media apps. You're starting your dopamine off at a really, really bad place. The first thing that we have to do is understand this mechanism. Your brain gets used to these high frequency rewards, and then anything slower starts to feel like a waste of time. That's why it's harder to write the report or write the email or even just go for a walk after you've been scrolling on Reels for a while. Because everything feels flat and boring. Nothing is even as close to as exciting as the Reels you were just scrolling. You can watch reels one day and you haven't completely dysregulated your dopamine system. So what are some signs or symptoms that your dopamine system is dysregulated? That's what we want to look at next. You might feel like you're lazy or unfocused or unmotivated, but it actually could be your dopamine, that you're desensitized to dopamine. So let's talk about what some of the signs of that are. Number one, you're constantly checking your phone. Even when you're just bored, you don't have anything to do, and even if you don't go and do anything, you just pick up your phone and you look at it and you look at the screen, notifications, okay. That's a sign that your dopamine is dysregulated, that you just constantly are picking up your phone. Anytime you are looking for some stimulation, you're picking up your phone. That's a big warning sign that your dopamine system is dysregulated. Another sign is struggling to start or finish basic tasks. Now, I don't mean something that's like really hard and challenging, like, wallpapering your kitchen or something. That might be a bit, that's different. But like something that's basic, like making a doctor's appointment or writing a grocery list or helping your kid with their homework, right? Or whatever it is, like some of these like very basic tasks, you really struggle with getting started, or once you're started, it's really hard to even finish a task. There might be some dopamine dysregulation in your brain. Another sign could be needing more stimulation to feel motivated, right? Like you're constantly looking for something more to keep you motivated, to get you doing stuff, to help you doing things. Nothing ever feels enough. You're always feeling unmotivated and you're always looking for more. That could be a sign of dopamine dysregulation, especially if it's coupled with some of these other things as well. A lack of joy in things that you used to enjoy. Right? Like you used to maybe enjoy the simple things in life. You used to go sit outside without your phone and, sit and stare at the clouds for an hour, or look at the trees, or watch the bees, or, you could just take a walk for a while and feel good. But even these, these simple things that you used to really enjoy, they don't bring you joy anymore, right? All you really want to do is pick up your phone and scroll on reels because that's the thing that makes you feel good in the moment. And ongoing mental fatigue and emotional numbness, right? Now, of course, ongoing mental fatigue and emotional numbness can be signs of many different conditions. But if you're experiencing some of these other signs at the same time that you're experiencing a lot of mental fatigue and emotional numbness, then it may be time to examine your screen time habits a little bit more and see if they are affecting your dopamine system and your regulation system and your ability to focus and be motivated and get things done. Right? This isn't just about screen time either. It's actually about your brain's reward system and how your brain is giving you rewards to help you get motivated and get things done. Now, cannabis, which is where we're going to go next, it can either help or it can hurt. If you're using cannabis to check out while you're doom scrolling, you are doing it wrong. You are actually making the situation worse. Okay, when we use cannabis to check out, it's first of all, that's often making it more challenging, no matter what it is that we're actually trying to do. If you're just, using it to emotionally numb yourself or check out or not feel or not think, it's not going to be a very productive experience. You're not going to help yourself long term by doing that. However, if you are using cannabis to reset your nervous system and break the cycle of overstimulation, it actually becomes a very powerful tool and a very powerful ally. So it can be something really negative, right? It can be something that you use to escape and zone out while you're doom scrolling on social media, thereby exacerbating the problem and making everything worse because you're actually expressing more dopamine by doing that. Or you can use it intentionally to help reset those dopamine systems, to focus, to get more focus and motivation in your life, and actually in an intentional way use it to break the cycle of overstimulation in your body. Okay, so you can use it. It can be helpful or it can be hurtful. It's up to you, and it's about how you use it, how you wield the tool. It's like a hammer, right? If you had a hammer, you could both build a house and kill someone. If you smash their head in, right? You could also kill a zombie in a zombie apocalypse. So it could be a useful way. Like there's lots of different ways to use any one specific tool. Cannabis is like that. The more powerful the tool, the more you have to use it with intention. Because if you use it without intention, you're going to end up putting all your power in the wrong direction. So here's the difference between using cannabis as a crutch or a catalyst. When you're using cannabis in crutch mode, it would look something like this. A high THC strain, couple that with couch lock, couple that with social media scrolling, and you end up in an overconsumption loop. Okay? You're overconsuming everything that's giving you dopamine. You're overconsuming your cannabis. You're overconsuming your social media. You're overconsuming things that are increasing the dopamine in your system, and you're stuck in an overconsumption loop because each activity is reinforcing the other activity. You're giving yourself a dopamine spike, and then you're getting a dopamine crash, and then you're getting a spike up again, and then you're getting another crash, right? You keep doing this and it repeats over time, and you end up with a very unregulated dopamine system. We want to keep it a lot more level so that it's regulated over time. That's the catalyst mode, right? So instead of crutch mode, we're going to use the catalyst mode of using cannabis. So here we can think about using CBD. We can think about using a more balanced strain or something that's not quite as high in THC, right? We're not looking for something that's 32% in THC, but we're looking for something that's a little bit more balanced. And then we want to, instead of adding in scrolling on social media, we're going to add in mindfulness, right? So we've got a balanced strain with the appropriate amount of THC. We've added in mindfulness, which is really about being focused and intentional in the moment. We're being aware of how our body is feeling, aware of how our mind is, aware of how the cannabis is affecting us. And then we intentionally focus on resetting, right? We're going to remove some of those sensory inputs that have been coming in. So we're going to remove some of the visual inputs that we've been seeing and some of the auditory inputs that we've been hearing. And we're going to reduce the sensory input that we are taking in through our brain. By doing that, by reducing some of that stimulation, by lowering that stimulation, it restores your sensitivity and then improves your overall baseline motivation, right? So by actually reducing the amount of sensory input that's coming in, you can use cannabis intentionally to support yourself while you're doing this, a balanced strain, a high CBD strain, whatever it looks like. And then we're focused on intentionally using that experience to reset our dopamine receptors. That is going to improve your baseline motivation overall. So you take away all of those high dopamine giving triggers, and instead you do something different. So here's what a dopamine detox approach would look like, okay, with cannabis support. So, and like you'll see online, people will be like, oh, I did a dopamine detox and it did this for me. And I'm not really talking about a complete dopamine detox, because you can't detox from dopamine because it's a chemical that you need in your brain. So we're not going to get rid of all of our dopamine so that we can then have normal dopamine levels again. That's not what we mean by dopamine detox. By dopamine detox, what we mean is really like resetting your dopamine system back to the appropriate levels, back to the levels where they can do the things they need to do, which is to give you focus and motivation. Okay, so I say dopamine detox because that's what people say like on social media and stuff, but I actually mean dopamine appropriate action, not really a detox. A detox would be like you would get rid of everything. That's not necessarily the case. But what we are going to do is we are going to get rid of some things that inappropriately spike our dopamine levels, okay? Like social media, for instance. So if you want to try a method that can help to reset some of your dopamine system functions and get you back to a baseline motivation level, I'm going to give you 3 steps to try. And you're going to try this and you're going to see how it works for you. You can let me know, hopefully in the comments, how it worked for you. So number 1, you're going to schedule a 2 to 4 hour dopamine fast, which means you are not going to do anything that would increase your dopamine levels during that time. So you're going to abstain from social media, ideally no screens, right? You don't want to watch a movie. You don't want to watch TV, nothing that's going to give you a dopamine rush. You don't want to eat any junk food. If you're going to eat, you want something super nutritious and healthy. Try to stick with plant-based foods. It's only for 2 to 4 hours. You're not going to die if you don't get protein, right? So just if you have to eat, like have an orange or something that's natural, that's like produce, it's very close to the earth. So you're going to remove all of those entertaining things from your life for 2 to 4 hours. It's not that long. You can do it, I promise. Okay. And in that time, you're not going to do very much. You're just going to be present. You might journal. You might take a walk. You might meditate. You might sit out in your yard and look at the clouds, right? You're going to, and it will be, I promise, almost definitely will be uncomfortable, at least in the beginning. And especially if you've been, doing a lot of high dopamine activities, been doing a lot of scrolling on social media, this will feel really uncomfortable. You'll find yourself reaching for your phone all the time. You'll find yourself really bored and wanting to go do something. That's the system resetting. That's a good thing, right? That means that you are doing something that you need to do in this moment. You are actually resetting it. So when you feel that happening, know that means that this is working. This process is working. To support yourself during those 2 to 4 hours, you can use cannabis, and it can absolutely help improve the quality of your life during those 2 to 4 hours. What you don't want to do is find something that's high in THC, because that is going to express dopamine into your brain, right? So you want to find something that's going to be either no THC, so just CBD or CBG, or has very low levels of THC in it. But it's something that is primarily high in CBD, a very calming strain. You want very low levels of THC if you consume any THC at all. And then set the intention, right? Create a container for this experience that you're having. You can say to yourself, you can say it out loud, you can write this down. I am here to connect, not escape. Or I am here to reset, not escape, right? I am here to focus, not escape. I am here to recover, not escape. It's all about, of course, intentional consumption has to be all about the intention. So it's about setting the intention, saying, this is why I'm doing this, right? And the more, when the challenges arise and you have those moments where it's really difficult to get through or to stay motivated or focused or whatever it is, you just return to your intention. You just go, oh yeah, I remember why I'm doing this. I'm resetting this so that I feel better in the future and going forward, right? I return to my intention, and it allows me to remember why I'm doing this and to be okay with doing it again. And then we're going to, in that 2 to 4 hours, we're going to replace the stimulation with grounding. Okay, so we're going to replace the social media scrolling or the watching shows or whatever it was. We're going to replace that with a grounding activity. So I mentioned journaling before. Journaling's a great one because it allows you to really sort of get everything that you're feeling and thinking down into something, whether you use a pen and paper or you're a notebook journaler. Like a laptop journaler, that's fine. So that's a really good grounding activity. It's self-focused, it's internal, it's grounded, it's centered. It allows you to focus on your body and your mind and how they're aligned at the same time, right? So that's one activity that you can engage in. You could also, do deep breathing exercises if that's your jam. Or you could just meditate, sit and meditate, right? You could do like an herbal tea ceremony. That's a nice thing, right? Like, intentionally prepare yourself an herbal tea and pour it and prepare it and just make it very intentional and slow as you're doing it. You could also try things like drawing or various, artistic activities like drawing or painting or sketching or whatever kind of artistic activity that you like. Or you could even try things like, gentle movement. You could try some stretching activities, maybe not like a full-on yoga flow, but just stretching, like moving your body a little bit, right? I said you could take a walk. That's another thing that you can do. So these sort of slower and more intentional activities that aren't going to express your dopamine like scrolling on social media would. And the purpose of doing this is to actually let your brain get bored. We have been conditioned to think that being bored is such a bad thing, and we should never be bored, and we should always be able to find something to do and to keep ourselves entertained and busy and motivated and working and focused. But actually being bored is a really beautiful thing, because that's when your brain is able to get inspired, is when it is open and isn't thinking about anything. That's when it's open for these brand new thoughts and ideas and inspirations and whatever else to come into your brain. That happens when you're bored. It doesn't happen when you're stimulated and doing things. You don't have brilliant downloads and insights when you're like really busy in the middle of a whole bunch of other things and you're focused on scrolling on social media. Have you gotten any interesting downloads and insights when you were scrolling on social media? I have not gotten many. I've had some ideas, certainly, or you see something, you're like, oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do something with that, whatever. But you're not getting these brilliant insights. That happens when you're bored, when your brain doesn't have anything to do, and your brain's like, oh, this sucks. I need something to focus on. And it starts thinking about different things in different ways. And all of a sudden you get this flash of insight. That's from boredom. That comes from boredom, right? So you do this 3-step ritual, a couple times a week. You schedule a 2 to 4 hour dopamine fast, and then you consume the right cannabis products with intention, a low THC product, and then you engage in grounding activities that aren't distractions. Do that 2 or 3 times a week. Do that a few times a week, and you're going to start to feel your motivation return naturally. You're going to feel less like the only thing that you're capable of doing is sitting on your phone and scrolling on social media reels, because you're no longer chasing those fake dopamine spikes that social media is designed to give you. When you are chasing those dopamine spikes, they are so high, those dopamine spikes, everything else pales in comparison. Nothing else feels as fun or as good because you're used to these fucking TikTok spikes that you've been giving yourself. You got to reset that shit. You cannot move forward with TikTok spikes. What I would suggest is that you actually create a low dopamine toolkit for yourself. So after you've engaged in this activity, especially if it works for you and you see like, oh yeah, no, this is good for me. I see that I need to do this a couple times a week to sort of reset my dopamine system, get myself off of social media a little bit, get myself out of that scrolling hole that I've been in. Here's a little low dopamine toolkit that you can put together. And these are things that I use when I know that I need to reset my dopamine system a little bit. So number 1, a CBD vape. All right. So I have I don't know if I have it. I do. I just have a little, not a one-hitter, but it's a disposable vape. I know it's terrible. I shouldn't have it, but I do have a disposable. Someone gave it to me. Normally I wouldn't even have a disposable, but I have a little CBD vape. It's just CBD, and I keep it for when I know that I'm like, I need to downregulate my dopamine. I've got too much dopamine. So I might start using a CBD vape pen instead of a THC vape. And then also I'm going to have a notebook, right? So I'm a big journaler. I have lots of journals, but I have this book, which I write in, I try to write in it every day, about what happened in the day. I missed some days in there. And how I'm feeling and how things are going. And so then a journal would definitely be part of that, because you want to write about why you're doing this, setting the intention, making sure that you're sort of keeping track of your progress and how you are feeling in terms of motivation ongoing. Another thing that you want to think about having is the right kind of music. So I talked about this in another video. I'm a big fan of this channel called No AI Lo-Fi. And it's just a guy playing, tunes, but it's lo-fi music that doesn't something about the AI generated lo-fi. It's just like sort of repetitive. It's the same thing on a loop all the time. And I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, but the more organic music, the more organic lo-fi actually seems to work better with my brain. So I've been really enjoying this channel. I'll link it in the description. I think I linked it in one of the last videos too. I'll link it in the description of this video so that you can check it out. If you have other nice no AI lo-fi channels that you have been listening to, please share them in the comments. I would love to check them out and listen to them as well. My little kit would also have a no scroll timer. So maybe a timer on my phone or an actual physical timer. We bought some physical timers and we have them around our house, and it makes everything easier for people with ADHD to actually see a timer and be like, okay, I have 10 minutes to do this thing, or I am doing this thing for 20 minutes, and have an actual timer that's not on your phone. So you don't have to look at your phone to do this. So actually get a timer and have a timer that says I'm not going to scroll social media for this amount of time, whatever that is, or be on my phone for this amount of time. And then the last thing in my low dopamine toolkit would be taking a walk outside, right? So whether that's, walking my dogs, or just taking a walk by myself, or, walking to the store so I can buy a bag of milk or whatever else I need, right? So a walk outside. So A, being outside in the outdoors, and B, a little bit of physical activity can absolutely help when you're in a low dopamine situation and you're trying to reset your dopamine. So we didn't really talk about exercise much in this video, but exercise is a crucial component in a healthy dopamine system, right? Exercise, moving your body, getting the right kind of exercise for you. Everybody needs different kinds of exercises. Some people lift weights, some people run, other people do yoga, some people just walk, some people, like to play pickleball, whatever it is. There's all kinds of different ways to get exercise and physical movement, but that is a key component of a healthy dopamine system, is getting enough and the right kinds of exercise as well. You really got to move your body. So if you need a little low dopamine kit, I would include a walk outside as part of that low dopamine kit, because it's going to get you outside into nature, and it's going to give you a little bit of physical activity as well, which will absolutely help to improve the quality of your dopamine system. And so, like I've said before, this video is part of a series on dopamine and focus and motivation and how cannabis can support those things. And to that end, I have developed a free intentional cannabis consumption focus toolkit. It is a downloadable PDF. It's got all kinds of stuff in there. It has some stuff from today's video. It includes some dopamine resetting tips. It's got a low stimulation ritual in there. And it's also got a 7-day tracker that's going to help you break the loop of your social media consumption so that you can get out of that bad habit and get yourself into something healthier. So you can download that from the description below. Like I said, it's free. There's an email sign up, but you can always unsubscribe if you hate my emails. And I promise not to spam you, because I'm not a spammer. I wouldn't do that. So like I said, this is part of a series on dopamine and focus. There will be a few more videos coming out on dopamine and focus. Depending on when you are watching this, this may be already in a playlist on cannabis, dopamine, and focus, or it may be going to be put into a playlist. But either way, keep an eye out. And if you want to learn more about cannabis and focus, there are more videos in this series that can help you achieve that goal. Okay? So just remember, your brain's not broken. It's just overstimulated, right? Cannabis can absolutely help you reset your dopamine system so that you are not overstimulated, and it can help you remember how good stillness feels. So until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your dopamine system, and I will see you in the next one.